guys, sort of update time I suppose. We've been getting seriously brutal low temperatures which have made it nearly impossible to do much out here, even with the heater. I've got to make some major changes and I'll just run through some of what's in the pipeline. The main project that's in mind at the moment is the fixed steady that I want to modify. I'll give you a quick rundown on that in a minute, just so you know what's planned, but I don't think much is going to happen all that quickly. I'm also waiting for my vertical mill to arrive, which may come today, I'm not sure. So I'm just going to run through the proposed sequence of events that's coming up and go from there. So here's the fixed steady. This was made for a Myford. It was just bought as a casting, and I made half-inch fingers with machine flats which lock. Got 2 pins and a washer. They all lock up. It works quite well, but it's just a bit slow to set up. And the base was modified to suit my old lathe, and that weird shaped piece at the bottom is so I can slide that in to get in between the rails and lock it up. Anyway, the plan is here's one finger which is already set up for possibly dealing with when I get the chance. This little collar around here is just a piece of scrap turned up to 1/2 inch bore, but the fingers, which as I say have got a phosphor bronze tip, because of the flat it's going to be very difficult to set up to indicate, and what I want to do is put a 1/2 inch 20 thread on here so that we'll have a nut either side of the through boss area, nuts for general adjustment and locking up. But the problem is indicating this. It's going to go in a 4-jaw, and what I've done here is, whilst this was hot, I'll probably redo this one actually, whilst both pieces were fairly hot, I put some hot melt glue on here, got it underneath the collar so that it's still actually fairly tight. Now obviously it may not be quite centered relative to the rod, but it should be within a couple of thou probably for me to use as an indicating surface. And then we'll try and put on some thread more or less from fairly close to the bottom here, just enough to chuck, and then thread most of the rest of it. So that's a plan that's ahead of things. It's very much a case of when I get other things done as well, but that's one plan. Now the other thing that has become really critical that needs done, let me just pan up here. That's where my heat goes, all the way up there. So what I've got to do is put up probably a fairly lightweight ceiling, aluminum lined foam board, something just to stop the heat escaping up there, and probably improve the lighting as well. And the rest of the place at the moment is in a state of extreme chaos. Nowhere near sorted out, so I have many hours of work involved here to get things improved. Now here is a Shopfox caster base which I've already got assembled, ready to take the base cabinet of the mill, which is going to be nothing huge like a Bridgeport, I'm afraid. It's a Grizzly, sort of mid-range, and that will take the base cabinet and allow me to move around, which at the moment is essential. Now the other item that's new, which is waiting to be used once I get the mill sorted out, nice little dividing head which takes a chuck. Haven't even unwrapped that yet. And then in here we've got a tailstock, 2 hole discs. There's one on the head itself, different center for the tailstock. All that's got to be looked at in detail and reviewed later on. So that's where we're at right now. Okay guys, it's all been happening. One huge crate and the smaller one, and so I got this as the main, and there's the base cabinet, which we'll get on the caster base. So I've got to get this sucker all undone, and then try and get the old chain hoist going and see where we go from there. And it's still frigging gold. Oh, sorry about the radio. There's the case it came in. It's like breaking into a freaking safe. Anyway, we got it out, and I'm setting up a chain lift. So there's the little beast. Deceptively heavy. The whole thing on the pallet weighs in at 375, I think. And then the base is set up on the Shopfox casters. Hang on, I'm not very steady here. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm set up on the Shopfox casters. The base didn't sit quite level. I had to put a piece of thin aluminum under one corner. And the 4 holes on top, which may or may not be visible, they were very tight. Had to run a tap through those, ready for when I put the bolts through. So I've got to get the hoist set up, try and get this sucker positioned. Incidentally, it's a blistering 22 degrees today, with a promise of something like 0 tonight. Ain't winter great. Well, we're just off the floor. Another 33 inches to go. Try and get this on the cabinet. It'd be a bit of a relief. Okay, don't laugh. It's not level. It's not its final position. Sure. The main lift's gone okay. Anyway, that was the hairy part. So I got to do some rearranging. It may live somewhere in this vicinity when I get sorted out. Right now I'm well pooped. Anyway, it's there. We'll see what happens next. Well, I just turned this through 90. The other way would never have worked. Still got to level it up. I've got a piece of 2x2 quarter plate. Aluminum there. Give it a better base to stand on. It's not level, as I think I said. So I got to level that up, get everything shimmed and get it completely, well, as solid as you can be on a base like this, but it's got a couple of outriggers to screw down. And then I think possibly looking at all the options, I think I might move it up to where that press is, closer to the other little bench. Thought I'd finished, but just tacking this on, that last position was no use at all. This is much more like it. I've got this aluminum underneath, but I'm having a job getting it really stable because there's spring in the material. So I may have to find a substantial piece of lumber to go under there and then get it fully stable. I'm playing with shims and such like. It's pretty good, but it's not good enough. And seeing as I'm going to be standing in this area, that press will have to go somewhere else, which is probably somewhere like that. We'll work on it. But anyway, this I think is a more final position. Now I've just got a massive tidying up to do. Alrighty, that's all for now. Thanks for watching.